Hello, everyone. Uh, we started this project, multimodal data analysis for the memes dataset from Reddit. It is basically a cyberbullying detection project, uh, which is multimodal in nature, as I said earlier. And we would like to present our current progress in this presentation. So let's start. First of all, in any research project, we have literature review, research and literature review. So we would like to call out some of the best prominent research papers that we read and which motivated us for doing this project. First of all, we have Met Meme, a multimodal meme dataset in metaphors. This was the title of the first research paper. The first author of this paper was Bo Zhu from the uh, Dalian University of Technology, which is in China. Then we have a Hateful Memes Challenge, detecting hate speech and multimodal memes. And the first author of this paper is Do Wu Kaila. Then the third paper that we studied is multimodal meme dataset for identifying offensive content in image and text. The first author of this paper is Shradul Suryavanshi from the National University of Ireland, Galway. Then we have multimodal sentiment analysis to explore the structure of emotions. And the first author of this paper is Anthony who is from University of Oxford. Then the another paper we have turning stocks into memes, a data set for understanding how social communities can drive Wall Street. And the first author of this paper is Richard Al Alverzet, and he's from University of Texas and San Antonio. Like that, we have around 15 pages, 15 papers that we read, and some of them I also mentioned. This is another paper, and the details are mentioned here. Now we'll see the research questions.
Okay, so for any kind of research, it's first important that we deeply look into the research gaps of an industry and then formalize the research questions. So let's move to the next slide, which is about the research gaps. So one of the research gap that we identified was that there was no data set at all related to the hate speech industry that we're talking about, detection of hate speech. This particular domain had no data set that was time wise and topic wise. So you didn't get any comments or any memes or any such post from the social media, which also had information like at what time they were posted and under which topic they were posted. So this was one research gap that we saw. Then the other one was that we continuously found research papers incorporating the images of a post or the text of the post or the people who are putting the post, like even the users or who they are tagging as a kind of information to detect if it's hateful towards a person or towards a group or a community. But there was not the usage of metadata. Now what I mean by metadata is that the comments that come under that post or the number of likes that post had, or at what time exactly it was posted, that is not revealed in the data sets, and that is not being used in order to do a hate speech analysis. So that is something that we also saw after reading the papers that Chirag just mentioned. Again, what we noticed is theoretical AI for hate detection is completely missing. Um, if there is work in this department, it is very little and very hard to find, according to our experience. What theoretical AI means is that instead of just giving an input to the machine and getting a blind output about whether a post is hateful or not, you actually expect the model to tell you why it is hateful, why it thinks it is hateful. So, is it hateful because it is sexually inappropriate, or because it is, directed towards a community, towards a race, or it's talking about violence, or some other examples like that. So a lot of detection models just tell you if your comments or your memes are hateful or not. They give you like a binary or a yes or a no decision, but they do not explain why they are hateful. So these are some of the research gaps that we noticed. Now let's just look at some of the memes that we got from scraping the data set and running through just Reddit in order to discover what this domain looks like. So these are some of the memes. Um, you can see the first meme. It is basically a collection of different comments and replies. So this is something that is usually not considered as a meme. The second one also shows something similar, which has a lot of text but not a lot of image. This does not fall under the standard meme format that we have chosen for our research. Now, what does falls under this standard format? Let's go to the next slide and show you is this one. So here you have an image. It's like a proper modern format for memes which are followed in the standard research that usually researchers do. And we have also tried to stick to this and keep our research on the basis of these modern meme format only. Okay. Now, we had to formulate the research questions. So these are our research questions. First of all, we wanted to see that how these already existing algorithms they perform on victim identification task for a code mix data set. And in this, we want to propose a new algorithm and compare it with the existing ones, which gives a classification approach where memes, what are the, like, we are also trying to discover what are the effects of meme when we look at it from a temporal point of view. When we are looking at the timestamps also, in order to see when they were posted and what kind of memes were posted near that time, or is there any pattern when hateful memes emerge. So these were some of the things that we are trying to find out. Also, we are trying to see how the metadata associates with the hateful memes, and can number of likes or the associated comments actually improve in this classification. The second question we have is, what are hateful memes? Memes that contain hateful content, or just memes that contain hateful comments. That's why in our research, we have not only considered the content of a post, but also the comments that come under the post. Because if you have a really good post about just like one person, and something really nice is said about him, but in the society it creates a hateful kind of environment where a lot of people are cursing that person, or cursing each other, or using abusive words, or just saying hateful stuff to one another on the social media platform. Then we would also like to see if that is also hateful to the society or to that social platform in some manner. Then the last question that we have is, how does posting evolve over time for cyberbullying? So not we can obviously say it in a how does it evolve in a day, does the hateful number of hateful comments that are posted or hateful posts that are posted have a peak at a certain time of the day, or they have a peak at the certain month, or is it increasing overall? If we see across various years, is the hatefulness on the social media increasing, or is it decreasing, or is it stagnant? So this is also something that we wanted to discover, to know more about our society, and obviously create a good impact on the mental health of social media users. So next up, let's talk to Vipul to understand how he generated a standard data set for our research.
So we have Chirag, next slide, please. We have covered 34 subreddits and collected over 20,000 data points. Uh, the first hurdle was to choose a social media platform which allowed us to uh, recover the data which we needed. So out of all the options like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, we chose Reddit because it allowed for scraping and also provided a Python library to do it. Next. So the first picture here is a simple function uh, to check if a post contains image or not, because there are a lot of posts which contains images and does not contain image, to uh, to retrieve our meme. And the on the right side, there are the features which we are retrieving from the post, like title. Score means likes in Reddit, number of comments, the image URL, post ID, subreddit name, author, and if the post is over for age over for or for age over 18. Okay, next. Downloaded, simple image downloaded, which we created, which fetches the data and downloads the images from URL. Next. Same for each subreddit we collect and download the comments from that. Next. So here is our structure of the dataset. There are three folders. One contains all the CSV files. Uh, Next. Which contains all the features and also the post ID. The post ID refers to all the memes and comment files, which contains all the post comments, unique comments. Yeah. Next.
Okay, so now we'll be discussing the annotation rules that we formulated for the process of annotating our dataset. So for that, we have created a separate Google Docs document, which I'll be presenting right now. So here it is. As you can see, we have formulated rules for various kind of categories that we are annotating. So the first category that is used in our annotation process is non-harmful content. The second category is harmful content, and the third category is severely harmful content. So in the first one, so as we discussed earlier, our data set has images and text data that will be embedded in the image itself. So for the image dataset, yeah, like for the image part of the dataset, if the object like if the image does not have any nudity or vulgarity, or it does not contain any celebrity or any subject for that matter, then we do not consider it as a uh, harmful content, and we categorize it as non-harmful content. For the text, again, is if there is no abusive language, or if it is not referring to a particular individual or a community or a person, then we categorize it as non-harmful content. Then for the metadata part, if the uh, abusive or harmful comments is less than 5% of the total comments, or if the number of upvotes are of a bullying post is less than a certain threshold, then we consider it as a non-harmful content. Then comes the harmful content. So if a person, like any subject is demonstrated in the picture, like for example, here you can see in this picture, Queen Elizabeth is being portrayed, and like this picture was not supposed to be here, because this was not created with some kind of permission, so we have formulated it as harmful content. Then for the text, if it is containing some kind of personal bias or prejudice, or it is referring to some kind of individual or community, then we say it as a harmful content. As you can see from the image, this image is referring to Queen Elizabeth's death. And Queen Elizabeth here is the subject, and that is why we have considered this meme as a harmful content. Then for the metadata part, for harmful content, if the comments is if the abusive comments is less than 45% of the total comments and greater than 5%, then we say it as harmful content. And if the upvotes are less than a certain threshold, then we say that the image or the text data is harmful content. Then comes the severely harmful content. In here, we have objects like which have nudity or vulgarity or shows weapons or blood or whatever in that sense. Then we say it as a severely harmful post or content. If for the text we have some kind of profane language used for a particular community, some kind of sexual comments for a particular subject, could be country, race, gender, religion, or not a sexual in nature, like it could be anything, but it is deteriorating uh, uh, the subjects in you know the subjects uh, it is deteriorating the subject's image in front of people, then we say it is severely harmful. And if the number of comments is greater than 45% of the total number of comments in the in the entire post, then we say it as severely harmful. Then we have annotation rules for harmfulness, because uh, as I said earlier, we have two kinds of harmful data here. So it can be harmful or severely harmful. So in that also we need to know what kind of harmful data it is. So for example, if it is against women, so if it contains any insults uh, or like comments based on biology or sex or whatever, then we say it as against women. Against country, if it destroys the public image of the country, or if it questions the integrity of the country, or questions the questions or some comments based on the internal issues of the country or the maps or anything like that, which can deteriorate the image of the country, then we say it as against a country or a region. Then against the sexual preference, so for that, if it is against LGBTQ community, or it is comparing different kind of sexual comparison, then we say it is against a sexual preference. So against a religion, as you can see from the examples as well, we have a cross here, and so like that only we have formulated the rules for this one. So if it contains any sacred symbols, messages, places, or scriptures, then we say it is against a religion or ethnicity. Against a celebrity or individual, so it can be something like if it targets a particular individual. So for example, as you can see from here, this meme is against Johnny Depp's character. Then we have sexual content. So if it portrays some nudity, then we say it is sexual content. A violent content, so if it contains a bloody scene or physical use of physical force is promoted or weapons are promoted, so such kind of content is violent content. And we have also given a choice for the annotators to make it in the other category, because there might be some fields that we might be missing out here. So that is why we gave them uh, another category. And these were some of the instructions for the annotators to annotate the data. So as presented in the slide, we showed that there is a certain kind of mean that we are expecting the annotators to annotate correctly. So that may contain something like the meme should not have too many text like this one. And also the meme should not have many pictures grouped together. For example, we might have some memes which are like a single image might have 10-15 images embedded into it. So we won't consider that as an image, that as a meme. Yeah, so that was all about annotation process, annotation rules. Then we shall proceed further with the annotation process. Yeah. How do we generate?
Okay. Uh, so Chirag, let me share my screen. I hope it's visible. Yeah. So
Yes.
to to simplify the annotation process, we took the help of Google Forms, and we needed a few annotators to help us with the annotation process because we can't annotate the huge amount of memes. So we asked the second year students to help us for this purpose. And after a brief session about our research work, uh, 24 students were interested in volunteering for the annotation process. So we created 8 groups out of those 24 students, and to maintain the equal representation of both female and male. So every group has one female member and 2 male members. So for the first phase, we gave 30 memes to every group, and then we took another session to clarify them about their mistakes and take their reviews about the process. So in the next phase, we gave 81 memes to every group, and we got the result responses from them. So it's not easy to manually create Google Forms with such huge amount of data. So we took the help of this service, Google Apps script. So here we can automate the process of Google Form generation. So let us now see how we did this part. So here is the Google Drive Google Drive folder containing the memes. So from here we can get the ID of a particular folder in the Google Drive. So in the Google App Script, we write code just like JavaScript. So here I have given the name of the folder, and then we can iterate over the files and add those images in the Google form. So these are some of the variables we need to set to get a proper naming convention for the uh, Google form that we are generating. So here we are iterating, and this message is just for the debugging purpose. And here we can see that I have added a question, and then another question we can add choices. And similarly, here I have added all the choices for the harm. If the meme is harmful or severely harmful, then user can select multiple choices from here. So if we run this script, then the process has started, so we'll stop it now. Uh, Here we can see that Google form has been generated. So just like this, we have generated these many Google forms. So if we see the name of a Google form, so SR7 represents that this Google form is for the subreddit 7, and G6 is the group number, and S2 is that this is the second annotation phase. So if we see a Google form, so here we can see that we have one image, and then the annotator has to select whether this is a meme or not. Just like Chirag described what is a meme and what is not a meme. So after that, we have to select the option for the image, and then text, and then image plus text. And if the image or text is harmful or severely harmful, then we can select multiple options from uh, these many choices. So here we have all the uh, questions. So we got 3 response because every group has 3 members. So we got the Google form responses in this format. So every row represents the response of a particular group member for every group. So we needed to convert this row to column to get a data set that we can use for our analysis. So to convert the pre-process the responses that we got, here I have created a Python script. So here we are reading all the uh, responses that we got. So after converting the row to column format, here we can see that the first 3 row has same meme ID because these are the 3 responses for the first meme. So here we can say that see that the first user annotator has said that this is not a meme, but the rest of the 2 annotators are saying that this is a meme. So we have taken the majority voting. So we'll consider that this image ID is a meme. And similarly, both of the annotators who are saying that this is a meme, they have mentioned that first one is saying that the image contains sexual content, and the second one is saying that it is harmful because of some other reason. So we have concatenated all the regions uh, after taking the majority voting. So after doing all the pre-processing, this is all the code. We got the data set in this format. So here we have one data point for every meme, and all the regions are concatenated, separated by comma. So now here we have multiple choices. So we have converted this column into one hot encoded form. So we did one hot encoding. So here we can see that the second meme is harmful. So we have one in this column against celebrity individual, and the rest of the columns are zero. So this is how one hot encoding works. And now uh, we have done some visualization in Tableau. So let me, yeah. So here we can see that around 28.70% memes images were not memes, and rest of the 71% were memes. And here we can go to any particular set of features, and then we can see what were the percentage in the data set. So here we can see that those images which were neither harmful, where text were not harmful, and image plus text were not harmful. So we have 27.31 percentage of such data points. And as Chirag mentioned in the annotation rules, we had mentioned that if either of the image or text is harmful, then image plus text will always be harmful. But here the text is harmful, but uh, few annotators have mentioned that the image plus text is not harmful. So this is a wrong annotation. So we can just see it from here that uh, this image ID is annotated wrongly. So we will remove this, or will ask the annotator to correct this data point. So this was all about the annotation process. And yeah, so we have added this in the Google form. Now Yashasvi will explain more about the metadata part.
Yes, Advait. I think you can open up the. Okay, um, okay, can you open up the presentation? I think you can
Yeah,
share, and I can just go along with that. Okay.
yeah, is it
Thank you.
visible?
So, yeah. So now that we have discussed about, so we basically scraped two data sets. One was about the post and the different memes that the users were posting. But then the another thing that we did was we also scraped the comments that were posted by other users under that particular post. So how can we use this comments, different comments, and how can we incorporate this in understanding if a post is harmful or not? So let's discuss about the same. So this is called refining metadata, where comments is a metadata associated with those posts. And what we want to do is we want to calculate some numerical representation. It can be either in a vector form or a one numerical representation to understand what comments reflect about the particular post. So what we went with was a numerical representation, and we tried to calculate the comment score. In order to do this, we took on all the comments from the different CSV files that we had for each subreddit. We cleaned the text, so we removed all the numericals or all punctuations to get a more cleaner data set and ran it through a BERT model. So BERT model is already a pre-trained model that we can use, and according to the classification of the BERT model of whether the comment is harmful or not, so BERT model does a binary classification. It says if the comment is harmful or not harmful. So we just use that and created a polarity. And then we calculated the comment score. So in order to see that, let's move to the next slide about how we calculated this particular comment score. So Adit, can you move to the next slide? Okay. So basically, comment score that we have kept right now for our comments is very simple and a standard formula used by many researchers, which is we calculate the number of neutral comments, give it a weight of 0, calculate the number of positive comments, give it a weight of 1, calculate the number of negative comments and give it a weight of -1. Then we divide it by the total number of comments that a particular post has gotten, and thus we'll have a comment score for that post. More positive the comment score will be, the more better, because it does not have any kind of harmful comments there. More negative a score will be, or more nearer to 0 also, it will mean that either the comments most of the comments are neutral, or there are a lot of negative comments. So obviously we can improve on the comment score much like further, but right now we have implemented the standard formula so that there is no problem or no fuss about it when we proceed with like a complex formula. Before we proceed to that, we just wanted to demonstrate the same with a simpler standard formula that we can use. Also, so what kind of comment scores we got? These are the list of different comment scores. So for each post from a subreddit, we are getting various comment scores. Most of the comment scores were in a range of 0 to 1, as you can see here. Let's now move on to future work and goals. So the future work and goals, obviously, first is we have seen that language is not enough for cyberbullying detection, and that's why we have proceeded with the metadata extraction and using that for the classification of posts. Also, detection of hate in modern memes in real time is something that we would like to obviously pursue in the future. We also, as we stated already in the research question, we are looking forward to temporal analysis on hateful meme posts. We also want to understand the popularity of hateful content on Reddit by seeing the number of comments and likes a particular comment gets. We are also looking forward to improve the state of art models that are currently deployed for the hateful content detection by incorporating metadata usage and temporal analysis in order to detect the hateful content. Again, we are incorporating a white box approach. So a white box approach is basically that you are able to understand why artificial intelligent models have classified a particular comment as being hateful or not. You're actually able to understand what is the reasoning and how it is working behind the scene, and it's not like a black machine in which you give an out input and an output comes out, and you do not know how it's happening. So in this way we can reduce the biases that might be incorporated from our data set into the machine. We can identify them and obviously reduce them if we have this kind of approach. So this was all. Thank you everyone. This is my group, uh, all the team members. Thanks a lot.